Hello and welcome to Forza Naples, an FC Naples podcast. Well, first game is in the books. 1-1. FC Naples comes out with a point, undefeated as a team in their history.
Undefeated.
Uh, I am Ian, and I am joined today by Paulie Walnuts. Paul, what did you take from that game?
I took away that, we talked about it on our first episode that we wanted to see an exciting match. I think we got that. I think we wanted to see high scoring, which we didn't see, but we saw an excellent goal, albeit not by us, and tons of chances that we created. A lot of corners, dominated the ball. The second 45 plus was phenomenal. First half a little boring. Both teams first match of the year, feeling each other out. But overall, I think we got what we wanted.
Yeah, I'd agree with that sentiment. Great atmosphere, great crowd out there. Team really played well. We kind of expected us to play well out of the back, have a great back line. We proved that. It took a worldie of a goal from Chattanooga to beat us.
Yep.
I think we just didn't take advantage of all of our chances. It did seem like we had that 90+4 winner. Flag went
Yep.
up.
Yep.
Unfortunate. I think he was offside, but
Yep.
that stadium had erupted for 3 seconds before the crowd realized the goal was called back.
I think it was longer than that. I would have liked the announcer to inform all the fans that it was in fact no goal. I know we joked that we were waiting for the local paper to say that we won 2-1, but that goal celebration, the crowd erupted. It was a lot of fun. I think the soccer fans there knew pretty quickly. The positive I'll say is we didn't have to wait for a VAR check. The flag went right up,
That's true.
and that's it. The excitement you don't have to hold your breath and think, oh, are we going to be saved by the camera? Which is probably good because I don't know, and get your thoughts on this. I don't know if that handball would have been upheld by VAR. I think the handball that got us the penalty, the game tying goal, I thought that was a harsh. It felt
Yeah.
harsh.
Live, I agree. I was shocked when he called it a penalty. Upon further review and watching the replay, as soon as I got home, it
Okay.
definitely looked like he had his hand up, took away the cross. He's clearly in the box. All day penalty. I thought it was a great call.
Oh, so then there you
Live,
have it. There
yeah,
you have it.
live. Completely agree with the Chattanooga players protesting that one. I didn't think it was a penalty from the stands, and then seeing it back, absolutely all day
Good
penalty.
call.
And led us to our first ever goal by Andres Ferrin.
That's got to be the most stressful penalty ever taken. And
Right.
outside of like a game winning, outside of obviously the World Cup or whatnot, just the first PK for a new club to tie the game late. That was what 70 plus minute.
Yeah.
Late. It's all the pressure in the world on that kid, and he stepped up and nailed it.
Yeah. He killed that penalty. Exactly what you wanted to see right in front of the supporters group. Let the celebrations begin. They did an
Yep.
awesome thing with the little light
Hmm.
show too when the ball went
Yep.
in, and again the place just erupted, which was awesome to see. Not to discredit their goal, because their goal I think was an all-time,
Oh,
I mean, goal of
unbelievable.
the season candidate. I don't think he's trying to shoot it there. I think that's definitely a cross gone wild.
Across.
But top corner, can't beat it.
Yeah, it,
Um,
it, it definitely got a reaction, and it was kind of the outlier of the game. I mean, there's that maybe 7 to 15 minute stretch to start the second half where we were stuck in the back,
yeah,
um, and that's was their only high danger chance, and keeper couldn't do anything about it. There was
no,
nothing any goalkeeper, again, like you said, he probably wasn't even expecting it to be on target. And then next thing you know, it's bending into the top left
yeah,
corner and
yeah,
getting a loud cheer from even the biggest of supporters. So that I agree that might be something we see down the road as a goal of the year candidate.
yeah. It was quite something. But I think that also proves that was really probably their biggest chance and only chance of the
Yep.
game. and it
Yep.
came on a whirly like that. And I really think that speaks to, our back line with Breck Evans and Jake Dengler back there. They were solid all night, solid winning tackles when they needed to, and then great distribution up to Onan and Farin, just with pace down the wings. I think that's how we're going to end up beating teams this year. Is great a great back line, building out from the
Mhm.
back, and then just playing those guys with pace down the wings.
Yeah, I don't know what your thoughts on a keeper being the captain are. I feel like it's less common today than it maybe used to be. But just having him back there, leadership, the communicating, like he did everything really well and he dictated everything and he was like a quarterback running everything back there.
He did, yeah. Delgado, and I know he's loved in the USL League One circles. Had a great season last year with Northern Colorado, and I think he really proved his value back there. The whole back line, and we kind of expected this is how Matt Poland would want to play, and he proved us right. With we're going to play out of the back, and then we're going to use pace to beat teams and whip ping balls into the box.
Yeah, and I really think that's the only thing that was missing was a foot or a head in the right spot, and it could have been 3-4-1. You know, if there's expected goals tracked for this, theirs is probably sub one, and ours is probably above 1.8. It's probably in the twos.
Yeah,
Um, they really weren't able to get anything. There was never a moment where I was worried about, oh, this is a promising attack or really anything. They didn't have too many corners, and the ones they did were stress free. So I think a lot of overall positives to how we played and the outcome. I think I would almost say the outcome is disappointing, based on how we played and the result we got. Obviously, you'll take the point, but based on how the game was played, and if you watched or looked at the stats, you'd be scratching your head of how this was a 1-1 draw for us.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, looking at their stats, 5 total shots, 1 on target, the one that went in. We had 7 total shots, 4 on target. Kind of put their keeper to work. He had a couple good saves. We seemed to have the better of the chances outside of the first 5-10 minutes, which Matt Poland said too in his post game. We first 5-10 minutes of the game and then first 5-10 minutes of the second half, which is right when their goal was scored. We kind of
Yep.
came out and kind of looked like we had seen a ghost. I mean, it's got to be so much playing for this first ever game in front of that sold out crowd at Paradise Coast. It's got to. I was nervous, and I'm in the stands, not doing anything. So I can only imagine what the players felt, and that kind of showed. And then once they kind of got their footing, got settled in, it was. I thought we were the better team on the day.
Yeah, and those shots that you're even talking about, it doesn't include all the crosses that ended up bouncing inside of the penalty area.
Yeah,
They weren't defended and they weren't, we didn't get a foot or a head on it. And they were well placed. I'm not talking 20 yards past everybody. I'm talking into the high danger areas that just got no deflections, nothing. And I think if any one of those, a lot of promising you know, deliveries by Naples.
absolutely. Yeah, I think that going forward is going to be what we need to improve on the most is just taking care of those chances and then just being a
Hmm.
little bit stronger in the midfield. I thought we worked out really well and came down the wings really well. In the middle, though, I didn't think we were great. And I think that's just going to come with time is let this team
Hmm.
kind of settle in, let them figure each other out. I mean, first game's it's got to be hard. These guys are still getting to know each other.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. And it's a one game sample size. It's
right.
nothing. I think the biggest positive is that the things that we're talking about are going to come, and the things that we are confident in, and the defense and all that stuff. I don't think that's going to change too much. Fingers crossed that this wasn't an outlier defensively, but those things tend to usually stay steady throughout the year versus, the offensive side of the ball, comes and goes throughout the year.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I do want to talk to you about one name that wasn't on the team sheet even, and we can't seem to find any more information on. Sebastian Joffrey, the local kid, not included in the team, and it doesn't look like he's currently listed on the roster on the website. I did see he's still on the Real Monarchs MLS Next Pro roster on their website. I don't know how much I trust MLS Next Pro to keep active rosters on their website.
Updates.
So, not sure what's going on with him. But if Naples were to pick him up and get him in the squad for this week, that would, I think, be a great addition to a player like him who can get on the end of those crosses and finish all those balls being pinged into the box.
Were you around when he was playing? Well, he's a Gulf Coast kid, right?
I was, yeah. So I'm a Barron kid. So when I was playing, I was a little bit after him.
Okay.
But yeah, he was.
I didn't realize he was that old.
Yeah, he's a little bit younger than I am. Unfortunately,
Okay.
giving away my age a little bit. Um,
I thought you said you were after him. He was after you.
no, he was after me. I was before
Okay, yeah,
him.
that okay. I thought I saw you won like the state championship in 2018, maybe. That's what I
He
was
did.
thinking.
Yeah,
So,
I think. I
which would
think
put him
so.
at early 20s, which
Yeah,
yeah, a surprising move. So not sure the logistics behind that
yeah,
whole deal. If it was a signing for show or just interesting to keep him off. I understand maybe not starting him if there's injury or whatever, his form's not there. I don't know any of those details, but just an odd thing to not have the local kid even dress. And I don't think there was a point in the game where you're prepared to put somebody in for show. We were obviously losing
no,
most of the second half. And then we had some really good opportunities after our goal. There was not a time where he could have come on or received that standing O that I'm sure he would have gotten. Um, but yeah, that would be an interesting thing to find more information on.
yeah. This is the hard hitting journalism you get from two very amateur podcasters
Yep.
on a
Yeah, with
USL League
with
One
real
podcast.
jobs and yeah, in lives. Yes, yes. We are also asking the same questions you are asking. So yeah, surprised that, and again, the fact that there's nothing written on it. You know, there's so
Yeah,
much that goes into signings. You never know the full story. And again, like you said, a lot of these signings were late. With less than a month before the game, so maybe there's travel. Who knows? Who knows what the reason could be?
yeah. Something to
Anything
look
we would
out
say,
for.
pure speculation.
Right.
I'm not quite
It's
ready to be
all.
reckless with it, but yeah,
Yeah, we have absolutely no journalistic integrity here.
no journalistic integrity on our end. You are correct. Yeah, I think honestly the only negative of the game, and we talked about this at the field, and you got there, you went into the stadium before I got there, and luckily I decided not to stick around after I got my McUltra shirt, which stand by for that sponsorship coming. Um, luckily we went because I think we ended up only getting in. We got to the gate at 6, a little after 6, and we were in the stadium maybe 15 minutes prior to kickoff. I think that they did the best they could, but 4,600 people in that small stadium, that I think they said that was a record. I think they said for soccer, but I'm gonna guess that that's a record for that stadium. I don't think they've ever had a professional event that size there. So, and thanks to our hard work, they already sent out the email saying security is they're changing their security policies. I think there
Yeah.
were some people that didn't get in till well into the first half.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see watching the game back just to take it all in again. A lot of empty seats in the first 10, 15 minutes. And I don't know if that was long concession lines. Like Paul said, you were probably 30 plus minutes in line for security. I think I was
Yep.
20 and we went in, right around
Way early.
5:30.
Yeah.
So very early, like an hour and a half before kickoff, which was kind of to be expected. First time they've ever put on an event like this, like you said, at that stadium, an event with that many people having to go through security. And to the club's credit, it seems like they're really listening to the supporters already, and working on solutions. So bag-free lines, improving the communication as far as what kind of bags you can and can't bring in, things like that. But it was something else seeing people take their belts off to go through security to get into a soccer game when I don't even have to do that to go in to get on an airplane.
Yeah, I think the easiest answer is get metal detectors, like have people walk through. The Everblades do it really well.
Yeah,
There's very rarely a line at Hertz, and they put on bigger events there just because they have metal detectors. Hey, walk through. Okay, good. You don't have to wand everybody. And then all the people who took off their belts, which was probably 60% of the people there had a belt on, holding up the line. Um, yeah, it was a nightmare. And if that's the only blemish that the club has this year, I think that's a win. I think they will be better. I think everybody, and they already sent an email. It didn't take long for them to
yeah,
send an email out saying, "Hey, we heard you. And to the club's credit, they already said, "Hey, these are the things we're thinking of um, improving. This is our plan going forward. There's a few things we'd like to do, but we got to figure out logistically how." And I don't think it's going to be that many people, but I think you still would have seen those long lines if half the people were there. I don't think as many people are going to be walking into the stadium an hour and a half early. Um, but maybe not. The beer garden area is great.
yeah.
Good food inside the stadium, so who knows? It's hard to anticipate what future matches will look like.
Yeah, and like you said, this was a negative that we both was probably the only thing we left with a bad taste in our mouth
Hmm.
leaving on Saturday and even throughout Saturday. And to the ownership team and management team's credit, they've already addressed it, already said, hey, we know this was an issue. We're working to fix it.
Yep.
I'm not sure how much of that is on the county because I think they're the ones operating the stadium. So to ownership and management's credit, they've heard us, and it sounds like they're going to take care of it for us, and hopefully just keep improving. And it's going to be one of those things that friends that came with me were asking me, "What's this going to be like?" And it was fun to say, "I have no idea. This is the first one ever that we're going to."
Yeah,
Uh,
and I think that you're going to get a good. I'm sure that there were tons of people there that were there just to see, hey, what is this all about? And I think the action that they saw in the second half, hopefully, is enough to get them back. It was a chippy game, some hard fouls throughout, called and not called, some hard falls, which ultimately escalated into the shoving match where people are getting pushed to the legitimately being pushed to the ground. It's not soccer where you get touched and normal soccer where you're touched and you flop. There were a couple good two-handed shoves to the chest, and we got pretty good seats for that, which
yeah, they
ultimately led
they
to one
channeled
red
their inner
card.
Everblades.
They did.
Uh,
They've been spending too much time with the Everblades. Swampy gave them a pep talk pre-match. Um, I was surprised that was the only card given was the red card. I thought for sure some yellows were going to be handed out to the supporting members, but there was really just the one booking from that. What are your thoughts on how that was handled?
Yeah, I thought he got the guy that instigated it all from Chattanooga that came in there and just two hand shoved to the chest, down on the ground. And then I think after that, it was just almost like a baseball fight where everyone just kind of comes in and everyone's grabbing each other, not to fight, but no one's really going to fight.
Hmm.
So I thought the referee did well there just to get the guy that's caused all this chaos and get him out of there.
Which is
Um,
really what you want with officiating, because that's a big complaint in football. Is you got one guy that stirs the pot, and there's no real outcome because other people are defending their teammates or whatnot, and everything ends up offsetting or canceling out. And here, almost cost them a point. Those actions. We had a
yeah,
couple dangerous chances after the red card. I think the offsides was before the red card. I think our waved off goal was before,
yeah,
but still,
I believe so.
you know, I I was surprised with this. How much stoppage time? We had like 11 minutes
Yeah, a
stoppage
lot of
time.
stoppage time, which was fun, but it also made for an even longer night. Um, at least for me, who got there way too early and stayed way too late. Um,
Yeah, it was, there wasn't anything. There was some music post game too. So those, I think they're really planning on making those events. Each week will be different live music performances, and it'll be a event that people are gonna have more than just a soccer match to watch.
Yeah. And I know my parents came. My parents are soccer fans. They can't wait to go back this week. Paul, your parents came as well, and it sounded like they had a fun time. They might not be going to every game, but it sounded like they're definitely ready to go back.
My
Had some
dad, I
fun.
think, will come back. I think my dad enjoyed the environment. My mom we went to a spring training game on Sunday, so she has used her sporting stamina for the decade. So not sure
That's about right.
if she'll be back, and if she does, it'll be for the social things that hanging out in the beer garden with friends or whatnot. But I think it's a great thing for Naples too. Just the city, gives you something to do. Um, on a Saturday night. I don't think I will be flying back for every game. I think that was a one-time thing, but it'll definitely be on the calendar when I'm making plans. Hey, is FC Naples playing this week? And definitely, trying to see the big matches. The cup games will be um, things that I'll try to get back home for, because it was a fun time. It was a great experience. I think the team looks pretty good. I think we'll get a better judge on that after match day two, um, when we play Madison. What is it? Forward Madison.
Forward
All these teams
Madison.
got some weird names in this league. Weird
Yeah,
names.
a lot of fun names. It sure beats the MLS, where everything is FC. Like we've got a forward, Red Wolves,
Mhm.
Union, all sorts of fun names.
Yeah, I think it'll be good, and I think that you're gonna see large. I felt like a lot of the people there were there to will be there frequently. Seem that's the vibe that I got. That people that were there were really excited to be there and are really excited for this opportunity.
Yeah, it was awesome to see the overall excitement from not just the soccer community here in Southwest Florida, but really the whole community. So many people coming out, so many people there to support this team, and yeah, from everyone I talked to had a great time, really enjoyed it, and is looking forward to coming back.
Yeah, I think, and that goes from the club being very out in the community and has done a great job promoting
They have.
the club, and I think that it's paying dividends now and causing people to complain about, hey, it's taking too long to get into the game.
Right. And if that's your only complaint, and again,
Hmm.
hats off to our ownership team and management team who have been so involved in this community along the way, from the
Hmm.
listening sessions back over a year ago now, to try and come up with a name and a brand, and like actually being part of the community and doing community outreach before we had a team. And then it really showed, and it brought it full circle. Uh, Saturday when I was there with my son too, and just getting to be part of this in my hometown, his hometown, where we live, having all this, it was a special night for sure.
Yeah, and the fact that the owner, we were standing at the beer garden rail watching, and the owner was standing like right in front of us, showing people to their seats. And I was told my family, I was like, "Hey, that's the owner." My mom was like, "No way, he's ushering people to their seats. Like that's not the owner." So then she asked the guy working. And the guy working is like, "No, that's just some guy and that helps with marketing or communications or something. He hangs around the office, whatever." And then he came back, it's like, "Oh yeah, that is the owner." So just the fact that everybody can be, that he is that personable and easy to approach. We got a picture with him. He was taking pictures, talking to fans throughout the match, and you know, asking fans you know at the game, feedback for. Um, and I think that it would be a waste if you use your few minutes with the owner of the club to complain about the security lines. But I'm sure he got some of that, and it again got fixed. You'll have to, next week when we do this, you'll have to tell me how the security lines improved, because I will not be there, but I am curious to how this is going to take shape.
Yeah, excited to see it this week. Definitely, club's credit, they've been involved the whole way, and we hope to keep seeing more of it and more community involvement and just all around great experience. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to the city of Naples. This is awesome. Um,
Yeah, and again, you walk away with a contested game with a point. You can almost go home a little disappointed if that wasn't the opening game with all the excitement and all the other things to be positive about. You walk away, 3 days later thinking, we really should have gotten 3 points.
yeah,
Um,
it's one of those. If it was a game at the end of September and we're on a playoff push or the season's
Mhm.
wrapping up, you look back and go, "Oh, we probably should have gotten 2 more points there." But overall, walk away with a point. You're happy. Got beat by a great goal. You take it.
Take it, and again, like we talked about, those chances are going to come. I would think that, if I was to set a line for this week, I would think we would be over 1.5. I think we're going to score two, maybe three. Um, it'll be, and again, better competition. It seems like historically they haven't played yet, so every year, I imagine similar to the Everblades, you're kind of playing a revolving door of players. There's a few, so I'd be curious to see what historical data you can take forward from this Madison team, but as a team that's been good for years, um, they're probably really disappointed that we're in the league now because who wants to live in Madison when you can live in Naples? So it'll be
Right. I
interesting to
don't
see.
don't know if they're going to be ready for our heat and humidity in the month
Oh,
of March that we have down here.
yeah, they're really getting a break. It was a beautiful night. We didn't even talk about the weather was
Oh
perfect.
my
It,
gosh, the weather was perfect.
it will be interesting to see. I think that we're going to have great support March, April, maybe into May. It'll be interesting the dog days of summer, how many people are going to be out there when it's 85, 90 degrees at 7:30, 8 o'clock at
Hey,
night.
they're pouring cold FC Naples blonde and match day hazies. I don't know who wouldn't want to be there.
They want to keep giving me drink tokens. And even just like to speak more on the marketing, I didn't get to pick up my tokens for the beer garden, and I emailed them, "Hey, when's the next time?" And their response was, "Oh yeah, well, whatever. Next time you can pick them up and enjoy an extra beer. Have 2 beers this week, whatever." I was just like some fun humor from the marketing team there. So really can't, I feel like we've been rambling on about how great the club is, and talking less about the quality product that was put on the field. It was good soccer, good chances. And I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to have a good competitive team, even though we walked away with, the draw at home.
Yeah, yeah, small sample size, but things are looking bright for us. Back to the game, like you mentioned, who you going with for man of the match?
I mean, it's got to be the,
Farin,
that's what you got to say, right? Like, is that
it's the
too,
goal scorer. No,
eh,
it's
that's chalky. For the match, yes, that's my answer.
yeah,
Um, Omnin, Omen,
Onan. Yeah,
Onan. I think watching him play, it's kind of like we had a guy on the Blades either last year or the year before who was the Islanders top pick or something and just didn't work out in the NHL and he was playing in the E and was just better than everybody. Um, I almost got that vibe with him that
yeah,
he looked like the best player on the pitch. And I felt that way with a lot of the players were better relatively. Positionally, I thought we had the better players kind of all around. But watching him play and his skills, I was like, this guy is really, really good and is going to cause a lot of problems for teams down the road.
yeah. Onan was awesome. Former Lexington SC guy who now is playing in the USL Championship, I believe. Um, he definitely looked to be at another level. Another young guy, 24. I think he's going to have a great breakout season along with Farin there. I think he's quickly going to become a very hot asset within this league, and can see him moving up into the championship with one of those teams
Yeah,
in the not too distant future.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of where these guys go. It's unlike the Everblades where most of the guys there are either guys that probably aren't going to make it and just want to keep playing hockey or at the end of their careers and have done what they've done. So it'll be curious. I'll be curious to see what happens with a player like that and what future he has. I'm sure there's guys like that all around the world that are playing at smaller clubs that just need the right eyes on them. You said these games are on ESPN Plus.
Yep, streaming on ESPN Plus, and then locally, I believe they're on Fox 4.
Huh.
Uh,
That's crazy to me that those were on. That this show. I think that's great for the league and hopefully leads to our dream of the relegation system. It's a good start. It's a good start
yeah,
having these on something that people actually already have and not like Apple TV that you're paying out the
right.
wazoo to watch maybe one game.
Yeah, I love my ESPN Plus for my ASUN basketball, Go Hatters, and my now my FC Naples USL League One
Well, it'll be
games.
good. It'll be good. Like for me, I'll watch the game on Saturday. It'll probably be on the small screen, conference tournament this weekend, but it'll definitely be something I pay attention to. And I think that'll be a plus for the club. And that's really the biggest leg up that they're going to have on other local teams that have come through here. You can't watch the Everblades. You can't, the minor league baseball teams. Not that anybody really would watch that if they did stream them, but just the fact that I from Mississippi, I can watch the FC Naples game on Saturday will be a big advantage for growing the club, not just locally, but growing the league.
Right. Yeah.
'Cause that was the
I've
biggest. That was probably the most common question was, well, what league is this exactly? And trying explaining soccer to non-soccer fans, I say like I've been a lifelonger. That's why it took me 20 years to get into soccer because you can't understand how everything works and trying to explain to people how this is different than the MLS and there is no promotion relegation and this team cannot be in the MLS. But they could play them in the U.S. Open Cup. Like trying to explain that was a nightmare to my parents who don't follow soccer, but just having the games on TV. I was watching games. It was two California teams last year at a bar in Pensacola. I was at a bar on a Friday or Saturday night in the summertime, and there's the USL top flights on TV, and you're just like, oh,
yeah,
all right, I guess it's on. I'm gonna watch.
yeah, and they seem to keep putting out at least interesting games, quality games. I watched the South Georgia Tormenta against Richmond Kickers game on Friday night. Ended up 4-2 to the Kickers.
I
It
saw
was
that.
just a rock and roll awesome game, and I was like, okay, this league's got something. This league's gonna
Got
be
some.
fun.
Yeah. So some again, just another thing. I can't remember the last time I was this excited. About a team in our area. It'll be cool. This must have been what it felt like in the late '90s when the Blades showed up, and just it is really cool in the access. I remember when we were kids watching the Blades on Channel 6 or
Yeah,
whatever channel. So being able to just do that wherever is going to be a cool experience.
yeah. Just looking forward to Ford Madison this weekend, Saturday night at 7. We'll be back hopefully with another episode to preview that match. Um, but until then, thank you so much, Paul. Any last words?
No last words. Go Naples.
Go Naples, up the Naples. Thanks so much for listening, and we will see you soon.